Good morning, boys and girls. It's Mrs. Bouchard. It's Monday, April 6th, start of Holy Week yesterday. The only thing that was a little different for me after watching Palm Sunday Mass was that I didn't have a palm in my hand. And I was always used to bringing those home and making them into little crosses. Maybe some of you have done that before. But it is the start of a week of celebrating in our church, so hopefully you can participate in all the different live streaming of the Masses for Holy Thursday, Good Friday, and of course Easter Sunday. We are going to have an all-school Mass live streamed by Father Tom this Tuesday at 10 o'clock, so please plan to join us for that. And then hopefully on Wednesday your parents are able to drive up through the school parking lot between noon and 1. We'll be lining the parking lot to wave and say hello to you. It'd be good just to see you guys. Over the weekend, I was pretty busy. I painted my pantry. Big job. So now everything that was in my pantry is sitting out in my living room. And those of you that know me well know that I like things organized, so it's causing me a little bit of OCD. I'm a little upset that everything is so disorganized at the moment, but it's nothing. I can live with it. I will be sending out an email blast to your parents. A couple of things. Mystery Doug is going to put out a special on Tuesday afternoon. We didn't put that on the original calendar, but it might be something fun for you to watch. And then also there's a little problem with the language that we assigned for Monday and Tuesday. It's the same thing both days. So I guess you get to pick. Are you going to do it today or are you going to wait till tomorrow to do it? You get to decide. All right. So my hat for today is this fancy looking thing. It has a very wide brim to it, fancy bow on the back. I don't know why, but it seems like something a movie star might wear to me. It's a little bent up though from being in my toy box, so maybe a movie star wouldn't want to wear this. And then our question, what is your favorite thing to do on a long car ride? I was thinking about that because we've been going on a lot of car rides at night right now. When my husband gets home, I'm just like, can we please just go for a little drive, get out of the house? So we've been all over the city of Omaha, even out in the country, and it's relaxing for me to do that. But when I was a kid, when we would go on our long vacations in the car, one thing that I always did was I would take a marker and I would mark the route that we were traveling on a map in our car, an atlas. And then I would also keep track of like how much money we spent on gas each day when we filled up, how much we would spend for our meals. And so at the end of the day, I had a big math problem to do. I would add up how many miles we had traveled, how much we'd spent on food and gas. And at the end of the trip, it became one giant math problem because I would add it all up for every single day and report back to my parents on what the cost of our vacation had been and how many miles we had traveled. Fact of the day, a dog can make about 100 different facial expressions. Now that sounds funny to me. If you can get your dog to make a funny face and take a picture and email it to me, I would love to see that. And the joke of the day, what did the baseball glove say to the baseball? Catch you later. And the advice of the day is simply don't sit down until the game is over. I can really relate that to school right now. You know, we've got several weeks of school left and it looks like it's going to be at home for the rest of the year. So school's not over. The game's not over yet. Keep giving it your all. Keep trying your hardest to make sure that you can end the year on a good note. All right, just a few things for today's work. One of the things that you're going to be looking at are in math are slides, flips, and turns. And I want you to look at this one first, the slide, because this square and this arrow, this is a pretty good indicator that the object is going to slide from one side over to another side. So if I was to do that just with my Expo marker and I slide it over to this side of the screen, that's the movement. And so this arrow is always going to indicate that you have slid the object. This one right here has the dotted or dashed line in the middle of the two rectangles, and it's been flipped over the line. Now, if I was to take this and flip it, it looks the same other than the words are going to be a different direction. But think of it as flipping pancakes in a pan. Here's the top of the pancake, you flip it over, and now you're at the bottom of the pancake. It still is going to look the same. And then the last one is a turn. Kind of looks like half of a circle with an arrow. That usually indicates that the object has been turned from the direction it was in. So if I was to take my pen and start it this way and then turn it, now it's facing up and down. So please remember those symbols when you're looking and deciding whether it's a slide, a flip, or a turn on your math today. In language, you are going to be dealing with what are called articles. And these are simply words that we usually put in front of nouns like a, an, and the. Something to remember is that you can use a or an if it's a singular noun, but if you're using just the letter A, it's going to be in front of a singular noun with a consonant. And if you're using an, the word that you're putting in front of has to start with a vowel. So, for example, a cat. Cat starts with a consonant, so I put just an A in front of it. But an apple, apple is a vowel, starts with a vowel, and so you have to put an in front of it instead. So this word starts with A, E, I, O, or U. You'll have to start with the article of an. The, when it's used as an article, it can go in front of something that's singular or plural. So I could say the dog or the dogs, and it works either way. The other thing you have to remember is that proper nouns are sometimes used as adjectives to describe something. So, for example, someone who comes from America is called an American. And so you always have to capitalize the A on that. Or Irish. Make sure that somebody from Ireland is Irish, you would capitalize that. Someone from Germany is German, so you would capitalize that. Anytime you are naming a country, but using it as an adjective to describe something, you always have to make sure to put a capital letter on that. And then the last thing is kind of fun. Third grade, we usually make a big poetry book. We're going to have to do that a little bit differently this year, but we're going to start that this week. And so the first thing you're going to do is to write what's called a couplet poem. Now, couplet is one of the easiest kinds of poems to write. If you look in the word couplet, you can see I've underlined couple because that's exactly what it is, a 2-line poem. It has a couple of lines. And a couple of things you have to remember. First of all, the first word of each line has to be capitalized. It's only going to be 2 lines. You'll have a comma at the end of the first line and a period at the end of the second line. So I wrote a little couplet poem for you. I do not like to stay at home. I'd rather go outside to roam. Capitals at the beginning. Here's my comma at the end of the first line and my period at the end of the second line. Notice it does not go on to a third or fourth line. And then the last 2 words, home and roam, I wrote those down because the last 2 words you use at the end of each line, they have to be rhyming words. So you might start off by making some rhyming words to start, like pig and wig or house and mouse, and then use those to try to write your couplet poem. Good luck today with everything. I'm looking forward to seeing most of you hopefully on Wednesday, and it's a short week. We can do it, guys. Miss you.